If you're watching this, you've likely experienced the diet death spiral. You start a new program with high intensity, driven by the fear of health consequences or the shame of how you look in the mirror. You follow the rules for 3 weeks. You hit one minor setback, and suddenly you're in the middle of a late night binge feeling like a total failure. Most people think the problem is their lack of willpower, but research tells us the problem is actually the word you're using to describe the process. When you label your health journey as a diet, you aren't just choosing a word, you're choosing a psychological framework that's rooted in restriction, loss, and temporary struggle. And according to the data, that framework is designed to fail. Today, we're going to unpack the psychological mechanisms of why the D word fails and why transitioning to a lifestyle framework is the only way to break the cycle of compulsive eating and shame. To understand why diets fail, we have to look at the gain-loss framing. In a massive meta-analysis of 94 peer-reviewed studies, researchers Gallagher and Updegraff found a consistent pattern. Gain-frame messages, those that emphasize benefits of a behavior, are significantly more effective for long-term health behaviors and prevention than loss-framed messages. So when you think in terms of a diet, you're usually thinking loss-framed logic. You're focusing on what you can't have or what negative health outcomes you're trying to avoid. While fear can be a short-term motivator, it often triggers the rebound effect. On the other hand, framing your choices as a lifestyle focuses on the gains: more energy, better sleep, and more confidence. By emphasizing the benefits and lowering the perceived barriers, a concept supported by Carpenter's research on health and belief model, you shift your brain from a state of deprivation to a state of acquisition. You aren't losing a pizza, you're gaining a body that performs at peak levels. This is a deep mental component to weight management that most programs completely ignore. I've seen this time and time again, how people fall into a vicious cycle. Mental distress leads to compulsive eating, which triggers intense shame, leading right back to more distress. This isn't just my observation. Research confirms that when we feel trapped in this loop, our ability to make healthy choices evaporates. Traditional dieting feeds this dysfunction because it relies on rigid, unforgiving rules. When you inevitably break a rule, you feel like a failure. To cope with that blame, you turn to food for comfort. It's a self-defeating spiral. The solution is a radical reframe of your internal self-talk. By shifting from "I'm on a diet" to "this is my lifestyle," you regulate your emotions more effectively. This moves your behavior from a forced restriction to the core part of who you are. When a choice reflects your identity, a mistake isn't a moral failure, it's just a data point. We also have to address the world around us. Social norms theory suggests that we are hardwired to conform to what we perceive as normal behavior. If you view healthy eating as a weird, restrictive diet that separates you from your friends, you'll eventually cave, and that pressure will be too much for you. However, when you adopt a lifestyle framework, you begin to seek out and perceive healthy behaviors as your new norm. Whether it's following communities that prioritize longevity, or simply reframing your social outings and making health normative, true change happens when the lifestyle frame is applied consistently over months and years, not just during a 60-second video. If you want to win, you have to stop looking for the finish line. A diet has an end date. A lifestyle does not. This is what we call the marathon mindset. In a marathon, if you trip at mile 6, you don't turn around and run back to the start. You get up and you keep moving towards the goal. To apply this, you must accept the challenges are part of the architecture of success. By addressing the mental part of this journey and prioritizing emotional well-being and freedom from self-blame, you create a foundation that makes healthy habits feel like a choice rather than a chore. Here's your objective for the next 24 hours. I want you to perform an audit of your self-talk. Every time you think about food or exercise today, listen for diet language. Phrases like, "I can't have that," "I have to do this workout," "I'm being bad today." When you catch those thoughts, Immediately reframe them using a gain approach. Instead of, I can't have that cake today, say, I'm choosing to fuel my body for high performance. Instead of, I have to go to the gym, say, I'm investing in my future mobility. Track these reframes in a journal or on your phone. Observe how your stress level and your urges to eat impulsively shift when you stop treating your health like a prison sentence and start treating it like a promotion. Stop dieting, start living. Let's win.